It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. We're smiling, we're laughing. If you're watching the video, you can see all the smiles all the way across. We have a great guest today, an organization's supporting Black Men Run, the Phoenix chapter, and Turf, the trail and ultra running icon of Phoenix. Jayson,
I'll take
Tinsley.
it. That is a bold-faced lie, but I will take it for this.
Hey, I did a little digging. I looked in your ultra sign up. I see what you've done out there. So, yeah. Well, Jay, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into running? Like, what inspired you to get outside when it's 150, 160?
Yeah,
I mean, that's all I see with you.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
All I ever see with Phoenix is like, you guys are either like freezing cold in like 65-degree weather, or you're complaining that it's 100 plus. And I'm like, every time I see that, I'm like, you guys chose to live there, right?
Yeah. We got it on us. It's on us. So oftentimes people ask me, like, did you run did you run track or anything like that? And the answer is absolutely not. I was a very husky baseball player in high school.
Okay.
I can very specifically remember telling my high school baseball coach, he made us run to like the other side of the field and back. And I came back and I was like, oh man, I think I pulled my hammy. And he's like, you need to shut the hell up, because if you pulled your hammy, you'd be crying right now. I was like, okay, all right.
Are we talking like catcher husky or first base husky?
Third base.
Third base. Okay, so
third base.
So you're husky, but you're a little bit athletic.
I was a little bit athletic.
Because third base has to move around a little bit. You're not like
I can move
you're not
around
like
a little bit.
the catcher where you just drop to your knees and throw the ball back.
No. But yeah, so I didn't start running until after I graduated from college. I made a concerted effort to get healthier. And I remember how long it took me to like be able to run. I was doing the elliptical for a while, and you get on there for about half an hour. You try to run, and it's like, all right, let me run to that mailbox. Okay. And I don't remember when the switch flipped, but I had two really athletic friends living in Boston with me who convinced me to start running around the Charles River. And I would go with them and do it, albeit in like basketball shorts and like heavy cotton in Boston in the summertime. Just like the shorts were so soaked with sweat, they were falling down my behind. Like, it was ridiculous. I definitely didn't have running sneakers, like whatever.
Yeah.
Moved out here to Phoenix 2012 and was, continuing to run. I was like, this keeps me healthy, but not with any purpose other than like, I don't want to get husky again. And I had some friends convince me to run the Rock and Roll Half Marathon in 2017. Ran it. This was great. Was watching the news afterwards. They were highlighting some of the stuff that happened in the race. And I saw a video of apparently an old white guy had fallen right before the finish line. And a black dude with a Black Men Run t-shirt picked him up and walked him across. And I was like, what's that? What's going on? Just so happened that a chapter had just opened up here the week before. So started attending, and then sort of the rest is history. Like, I was running with these guys who were all, 10, 15, 20 years older than me. Some had been running since high school. Some had just started running, but they gave me this vision of healthy living, 40 and beyond, 50 and beyond, 60 and beyond. But I was like, all right, I'm with it. And then they started saying, well, you should, run this marathon, do this. And I can't say no to people. So I was actually doing races at that point.
Why is peer pressure a big thing?
It's it. Like, what am I going to say no?
It's just like drugs.
You think I can do that? Okay, I'm in. So that's how my running life started. And then like trails really was, man, it's a chicken and the egg thing for me. Black Men Run was trying to get into the trails, I'd say 2021, trying to kick it off. And I think because of where I live, they were like, oh, this guy must do it. He lives in Phoenix. I don't really run trails. But they're like, do you want to be an ambassador? I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And from there, again, I got multiple trailheads within 2-3 miles of me. It was a very accessible thing. I liked it. And beginning of the pandemic, there were no races going on, so my pace didn't matter. So it was like, why not be out there instead?
Yeah.
And now that's life. It's all I want to do.
Yeah. It sucked you in.
Sucked me in. It's all I want to do. Like, I am willing to set my alarm for even earlier so that I can get out to the trails, get in my miles and my elevation, be back in time. My job is East Coast based. So I have meetings that occasionally start at as early as 4, but that's not frequent, but 5, 5:30, 6. So I have to get out early. And if I just ran in my neighborhood on the roads, I obviously could be much more efficient. But now I was like, no, I got to get to the trails. I want to get to the trails.
Nice. What, so your love for trail running, but do you still do road racing, or do you still do road running, or are you primarily trail running now?
I am primarily trail running. I'll get out. I mean, I was talking to some of the guys about it earlier today while we were running. Like, I like a good 10K. I mean, I did the most recent race I did was the Girls on the Run 5K. Something will pop up. But as far as most of my running, like, I wanted to be on the trails. It just
Yeah.
feels better. And the community is markedly different, and I prefer it.
Yeah.
Love running all around, but the trail community is different, and it's more my vibe.
You know, we ask this question quite often when we have people who dabble in both, you know, the road running, trail running, or they've come from road running and they go to trail running. You know, what do you think the big difference is in the road and trail communities?
What I always tell people is that, you know, when you're doing, I mean, whether it's marathon, half marathon, like, you get up there to the starting line, you look at people, stuff, that you might be sizing them up, and then you run. Depending on the length of the race, you may talk to the person next to you, but you got your music in and you're thinking about your pace and you're trying to move. And it's really not until the end of the race where you're like, oh man, you had me going, man. I appreciate you. You were pacing me the whole time. That was awesome. It's like, okay, you know, if someone tripped and fell, there's a good chance you would just keep running because it's like, no, you're good. We're going to keep it moving. Whereas on the trails, if you hunch over for a second to catch your breath, 3 people converge on you with salt tablets. We got you. You all right, dude? You know, it's just different.
It really is.
You know, the group of people that are hanging out before it starts, it feels different. The communal activities after the race, during the race, at the aid stations, it's just different. You know, road running is not bad. I like it. But I think being out on the trails, and there's something about, like, I don't want to say inherent danger. It's not dangerous. It's more dangerous to be running on the roads, frankly. But we all tend to look out for each other a little bit more out there.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because the pace is slower and the distances are longer?
I imagine that's part of it, but I really do think it's, I mean, again, chicken and egg. I don't know if a certain type of person gravitates towards trail running because of the community, or if trail running sort of fostered that type of community in the first place because you move slower. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we just, at our group run this morning, happened to be on the trails, and one of our guys, he finally completed Cocodona 250 a week ago. He'd done it, I think that was his 4th try. So we're talking to him about it, and he mentioned at one point there was a section where they weren't allowed to have pacers, and he happened to end up in a group of people, and some of them are struggling. He was like, I mean, there's just general struggles. And he started going through his training routine, which was like, I don't know, counting. I don't know. It sounded like military counting, but everyone got into a groove, and they had this unofficial pace group that sort of helped them get through the miles. And he said that the husband of one of the women he was running with at the end was like, she was going to quit. She was ready to be done. She was in pain, you know, and that community piece kept her going and helped her finish. And I've not experienced that in a road race.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like, oh man, I'm shooting for that 150 half marathon, I got to stay at this pace. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm sorry you're hurting, man. I feel bad for your cramps, but I'll see you later. Like, peace be with you. You know, it's just
That's
different.
true. That is true. And you know, like we've all done tons of trail racing, and, you know, I've done some road racing as well. And I can speak to exactly what you're saying. Like, you know, if somebody's struggling out there on the trail, you're going to stop and help them.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, and I've been in that case where I'm on the bus and I've had people stop and like, hey, what do you need? What can I do for you? You know, like, are you good? You know, I might just be in my head at that time, be like, well, I'm just there. Let me suffer in silence and I'll just keep walking on, you know,
Yeah.
but like, but it's crazy. And then the aid stations are, you know, it's wild. And so I always try to encourage people to go run a trail race just for the fact that like experience the community and
Experience
you'll
the
be
community.
hooked
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what I've really liked, and I've been able to, I mean, we have really good trail race organizations out here. They're very family friendly. So I've been able to bring my family out to a couple of them. And I mean, that's sort of a big thing right there. Like, particularly the longer races, obviously ultra marathoning and stuff like that, you're out of pocket for a long time. So if you have a family, it is kind of a big deal for you to be participating. Like outside of training, which is already going to take up time, like, oh, I'm doing a 50K. I'll see you guys on Monday. Like you're gone, you're out of pocket, you know? And I feel like, I mean, at least locally and what I've seen from other, some of the other race organizations, they do a lot to try to make it family friendly. So if I were to drag my kids out there, if my wife was remotely interested in hanging out, like there's stuff to do. It's friendly, it's welcoming, you know, have, you know, cornhole set up, whatever. They're barbecuing, there's snacks. Like it's kind of a fun atmosphere and they work really hard to do that. And I think that that ends up just being so much more inviting. And as a result, like in my household, I've got my son hooked on trail races. Like he's only
Nice.
gone up to like a 4 miler at this point, but I'm gonna get him to that 10K.
Nice.
But like the vibes of the event suck him right in.
Yeah.
He's all in now. He's
And
10.
for families as well, like if there's, you know, crew access spots, they can actually go out and see you run.
Yeah.
Where like if you're running a major marathon, like they might see you at mile whatever that they're standing there. You might see them or you may not, you know. But at, you know, a 50K, there's probably 3 or 4 spots that the crew can go to.
Yeah.
And they're for sure going to be able to see you because you're going to stop, talk to them, and
Yeah, I mean,
you know, get some help and then move on to the next one, you know. But so yeah, I've never really thought about it like that, but they are definitely family
Well, Justin,
friendly.
you remember those kids that were cheering you on at Bandera?
I do. Yeah. I remember those. I'll always remember that video. That's awesome.
There was these kids and they were standing up on this hill and it was kind of nasty. Like a lot of people were slipping and falling right there, but they were just up there just hooting and hollering. And I was talking with these kids. I spent like probably 2 hours with these kids and they were just like you were saying, they're just like sucked in, and everyone that came by, they were high-fiving. And I was like, do you guys run? And they're like, yeah, we run. I'm like, do you guys run on the trails? Not too much, but I think we want to after this. And, you know, some other things. And I was thinking to myself, even in the, they were just there volunteering. They were going down to one of the aid stations later to volunteer for the rest of the night. So they were just kind of on scene. But you were saying something, Jay, where, you know, I've been in a lot of 100-mile races where I've seen the family show up to the aid station and they're having a really rough spot and their kids get them motivated again.
Mm-hmm.
And in the marathon, like you're kind of saying, we were saying like, yeah, you might be able to wave to them and see them run by, but we spend a lot of time away from our kids when we're training and doing these things, like you were saying, out of pocket. And I think, I know for me, like just be able to see your kid there 50 miles in or something, like, okay, I'm good. Yeah. They're here for me.
There's some, I mean, I have not, like, I'm not, but my max race so far has been a 50K. And I can remember, I mean, honestly, I think about my first marathon, a 50K, seeing my family at the end, legs dead. I don't want to do this anymore. I'll walk. But I'm like, I have my marathon, I forget how old they were. Oldest was probably 5. Ultra, oldest is 7, maybe. And them cheering, I was like, and I'm on them about being like having grit and toughing things out all the time. I was like, well, my ass can't be walking at this point. Pick it up. You know, so even if it's as simple as that, and that's ridiculous, I'm a ridiculous person, but like, even if it's just that, I'm like seeing my family, my kids, I'm like knowing they're like, they know how hard I work. They haven't been a part of it necessarily, but they know I work hard. So them seeing me complete this thing and run, even though like everything is terrible, that's meaningful, you know?
Yeah. What kind of, you know, internal motivation does that provide them as well? Seeing their dad going out there and doing hard things, knowing that, you know, whether you're successful or you fail, you gave it your all. You tried, you know, and they see you getting up in the morning and doing your training, or at least they hear about it. They're probably still asleep, but they go out, they cheer you on, you know, at these races, and it's just like, and now you're saying that your son is motivated to go trail running. And it's like, that's got to be such a great feeling that, you know, your hobby is now being passed on to your kids because they see these things that you're doing and now they want to do it. And
Yeah,
it's
you
gotta
know,
be
it's
really
another
cool.
opportunity to hang out with them. Like, all right, yeah, I'm out of pocket a lot, but like, also, this is the thing we can do as a family.
Yeah.
And what I work hard on is trying to, whatever lessons you can learn in running, like trying to impart those upon them and whatever they're doing. So my son is a big soccer player, loves it, and I've been working. I was like, run, dude, because if you can run a 5K with me, like no other 10-year-olds are running 5Ks. So at the end of the game, when everyone's winded, man, like you're gonna still be flying. And we did a trail race at the end of the fall soccer season, 5K trail 5K. And I was like, listen, man, like in the beginning, just figure out the pace that works for you. Like, don't be sprinting stuff like that. Just, you know, you want to get to the end. And I was like, and then whenever you know where the finish line is, like when you like look in your gas tank, and be like, how much do I got left? And then burn and pick people off. Like, do this. And then I was like, all right, I think we're in the championship game. We're against that one kid that you always battle with in soccer. And I was like, how are you going to beat him? What do you have left? Do it. And this kid, like, he sees now, like, oh man, okay, like I can see the finish line. I want that person. He just picks him off. I want that person. Picks him off. And I'm like, I can't catch him anymore. It's embarrassing. I thought I would still be the dad that could run faster than him at the end, but no. He's got that Nas tank down there,
Yep.
and he saves it. He's got his, you know, mentality. He's like, all right, bet I'm gone. And I'm like, all right, I'll see you in a couple minutes, dude. Like,
I love it. That's awesome. That's great. So fun. Well, you mentioned a little earlier that you have a community, and we talked a little bit about it through your introduction, but I would love to hear more about Black Men Run, and then I see you wearing a hat that says Turf. I had to look that up, but for the community, what that means, talk about these two organizations.
yes. So Black Men Run is an international organization. I think we have 50 chapters statewide and 4 or 5 globally. Paris, Okinawa, London, Kenya. There's another one in there somewhere. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it started in Atlanta in 2013, and honestly a run club. Like, it was a couple of Black guys wanted to promote healthy living through jogging, and a wildfire sparked. Chapters blew up all over the place as a result of that. And it's now evolved into, you know, we say we're not a run club, we are a network of impact and influence. And we see that in how we move through the communities now, which is really, really cool. At the heart of it, though, it is a group of people who are trying to promote healthy living amongst our community, because we know that there are specific health issues that impact African American males. So even like locally, I mean, running helps all things, but we've had several runs to promote awareness for prostate cancer, because that is something that very specifically hurts the African American community. So that is the general basis of it. Turf, trail and ultra running fanatics. I feel like I need to keep saying that so people understand what it means. It was sort of born out of the fact that, like, you know, people see Black men and like sprinters, Usain Bolt. And I was like, all right, that's cool, but that's not all we are. There are plenty of Black long distance runners, but they don't, I don't know, unless they're from Kenya, no one knows about them.
Yeah.
You know, so we're trying to increase that representation out in the community. And honestly, the same for trail running. Trail running feels even more important for me, because where many of these races are, there's already not a whole lot of us.
Yeah.
You know, so like I feel pretty comfortable running around in downtown Phoenix. You start getting to some of these, you know, outskirts and whatnot, and it's like, I'm not so sure. You know, so to have more of us out there, to be a part of the community, so that like whatever the race organization is, whoever the runners are, they're like, no, they do little things, big things to help you feel welcomed, valued, safe, all those important things. So turf was sort of born out of that. Like, we have this space that is great. I mean, all the things it does for you physically and mentally, you're out in nature, you're disconnecting from the world, like all that stuff's great. Like, but there's many of us who are scared to get out there because, I don't know. I mean, I said the other day in a webinar, the things that seep in our head, like, oh, black people don't ski, black people don't skateboard, black people don't trail run. And if I am saying that enough in my head, then it's going to become true to me.
Yeah.
And I think that happens for a lot of us. So it's like, no, we out there. Take a look. And if we get more people out there, it'll just, not only is it going to help the community continue to evolve and just be even better, but also make newcomers feel even more comfortable. Like, oh, I'm not the only one out here. Like, this is kind of cool. I was thinking about this. I did a Music City Ultra 27K. I don't know. They got to take Ultra out of there. I feel embarrassed because I know it's not really an Ultra, but honestly, it felt like it was in somebody's backyard outside of Nashville. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the 1994 movie, I think it was 94, starring Ice-T, called Surviving the Game, where they bring in this brother and they hunt him. That's what I'm picturing is going to happen at this race. I know I'm ridiculous. I'm a ridiculous person, but like in my mind, I'm like, I'm in this white man's yard. I know this is gun country. What's going to happen here? And I went with another one of our ambassadors. So that gave me a little bit of maybe psychological safety. And when we got there was another brother there, and he was like, I've never seen this guy at a race before. And immediately it was like, and we felt safe there. And then beyond that, the race director and all the community was like, made it a point to make us feel welcome and valued. And we're thankful for our presence there. And it was just like, hey, I'm not going to get hunted. Mind you, again, it's in the woods. I hear gunshots going off all the time, but I was like, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to run scared, you know? So for me, turf, by and large, is trying to do that, create that psychological safety. Like, hey, one, we belong out there. And it's great. It's amazing. Don't miss out on this. It's awesome. Like I took two new people out on the trails this morning, and they were just like awestruck by the beauty of the trails, you know? So there's that. And then it's like, all right, like if we can build this critical mass of, you know, I'll say a BIPOC trail community, if you're thinking about, you see one in your general area, or you travel, and it's like, oh man, I'd like to join that race, but I don't know if that's our thing. I was like, no, it is our thing. Like, we got people out there. Go ahead and do it. We will be safe, you know? So that's kind of our goal within turf.
Do you think that is a common response? I know that you shared your story about how you go to a race and, you know, you may be the only African-American, you know, individual representation there. Do you feel like, because there's a lot of representation in the road running community, but
I mean, it's definitely getting better.
For sure.
Yeah.
But when you go do a trail race, there's very little, if any, representation. And so do you think that is, you know, it's safer running on the road? It's just an unknown. They don't want to go up in the mountains. Like, what do you feel is?
I mean, I imagine it's a variety of things. Like, I mean, particularly think back to 2020, I'm in Arbery, like the roads aren't necessarily the safest place either.
Yeah, no. I
you know, so
100% agree.
Not only those dangers, but then just like every time I run along the sidewalk, I am trusting that somebody's not going to jump a curb. While I have all sorts of critters out here that I have to be wary of, I mean, again, I have a sort of a covenant with Mother Nature. I spend a lot of time picking up trash as I run along. Like if I have a spot for it, I will pick up whatever trash I can find. And as far as I'm concerned, I learned this from a buddy. He was like, listen, at any point I can fall down this mountain and die. So I feel like if I do right by Mother Nature, she'll do right by me. And that's the kind of the covenant I have. So I feel safer out there, but I don't know if you haven't experienced it, you have no idea. And partially because we like to talk a lot of junk, the stories that trail runners tell about like what they've seen, like I saw this rattlesnake and it jumped at me, or I saw a bear, or I saw a cougar, like, you know, nobody's don't want to hear that. They're scared to death. And I'm trying to get better about it in that, like, I tell people, I'm like, listen, like, I am thinking about rattlesnakes all the time, but I trail run 3-4 times a week. And I've been doing it for the past 4 years. And I live in Phoenix. I have had 3 snake encounters. And by encounters, 2 times, like, I stepped close to it and I might have heard a rattle and a hiss. At least that's what my brain tells me. And another time, it's just like, hey, we were running. Look, there's a snake over there. It's going away. Like, they don't want to mess with you. And that's what you learn. Like, nature doesn't really want to deal with you. They're more scared of us than we are them. But if you've not done it, if you've not experienced it, oh, hell no, I'm not going out there. I'm not doing this. I'm just not. Like, what do you mean? You want me to run in the dark? What am I'm going to trip all the time? Like, there's danger everywhere. And it's like, yes, but not really. You're going to be all right. There are precautions that we can take. There's precautions that I take, that everyone takes while we're out there. But for the most part, you're all right. And I think giving people a window into that helps. But more importantly, what we're trying to do with Turf is like, I'll go with you. Like, I'll take you out there. Like, I don't expect a lot of people to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to point me to a trailhead. I'll just do it on my own. I'm like, okay, well, where is your hydration vest? We're in Phoenix and it's going to be 109 degrees at 9 a.m. No, don't do that by yourself. But if if someone's had a conversation with you about how you can prepare, if you go with somebody, so it's like, all right, you should pay attention to this. Maybe don't do single track with the bushes next to you because that's where the rattlesnakes hang out. Like, do wider track. Like, we can do this together. And that's a lot of what Turf is trying to do, is like bring people out there. One other thing that I think kind of locks into people's minds is that what we celebrate are the 100 milers, the 50Ks, Cocodona 250. It's like these crazy races, man. Like, you got to be insane to do it. If I'm new to this, I'm like, no, there's no way I'm getting involved in that. And I think the entire community, if we want the trail community to continue to grow and feel more accessible, is we need to be clear. Like, if you go out there and run 2.5-3 miles on the trails, you're a trail runner. That's cool too. If at some point you have to walk, that's what we all do. Like, no one is running 250 miles. Like, they walk a lot of that. No one is running up a mountain. Like, they have to hike that. Like, that's okay. It's not this constant sprint. Like, most of us are not worried about our time. We're just out there trying to keep moving.
Yeah.
For as long as we need to keep moving for. And much of that is going to be walking and they're hiking. All right. So it's okay if you need to stop. And like, on the trails here, like, I'm not a very good photographer, but I take a lot of pictures. But I tell people, I'm like, I literally and figuratively stop and smell the roses. Like, that's why I'm out there. It's not just for the run. Like, I love the views I get to see it. And I want to stop and appreciate them. I want to walk. So I'm not worried about tripping on that rock there. So I can actually like watch the sunrise and be like, this is gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate that for sure. And I think that you are 100% correct. We celebrate the 100 miles, the Cocodona 250. Like, oh my gosh, there's an Arizona Monster 300.
Whoa, yeah, like, who's gonna do it? This is amazing. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not downplaying anyone's feats for doing that and doing those races, because they are incredible. And the live stream has brought so many new people into our communities. Mm-hmm. But there are races and tons of them out there that are sub ultra. Yeah. And I feel like when people think about trail running, they automatically assume ultra running.
Yep.
But there's lots and lots of races. Most races in America that have a 100 miler might also have a 30K.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a half marathon running at the same time.
Or
lots and lots of races.
18 miler for some reason.
Yeah, I know, 18 miles. I don't know why. They just like, here's a 100 miler and a 18 miler. But I think almost every race that I've done, 100-mile, 50-mile, they've all had sub ultra distance. And I wish that we could talk more about that and get more people interested in doing sub ultra distance trail running and then build up to it, because people run marathons on the road and they automatically assume next step is 50K trail. Well, you're running average 4-hour marathon, and a trail 50K might be 6 to 8 hours. And that's hard for them to wrap their head around. It's only 5 more miles. Yeah, it is. But there's also 3,000 foot of elevation gain. You're running over roots, rocks, whatever may be out on the trail. So that 4 hours, extra 5 miles is another 4 hours. And so
And it's so hard to compute, though.
it
Like,
is.
I mean, I'm blessed that I have plenty of people around me that are experienced trail runners, ultra marathoners, and stuff like that. And it didn't matter what they told me. In my head, I was like, well, okay, man, if I can do a marathon at 4, like, all right, man, just tack on another 45 minutes or so. Like, I'll be good to go for the 50K.
Yeah.
You stupid idiot. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
How'd that work out for you?
Terrible. I mean, I finished.
No, yeah.
Thank God. But, in my head, I was like, no, I'm going to be fine. And it's like, no, man, like, you're spending that much more time on your feet. Your body's aching. You're spending that much more time under the sun. Like, you're going up and down elevation. You got aid stations. You got to do this. You got to do that. Like, it's different. It's different. And that's okay. But, like, I'm always blown away by the people who go into it blind. Like, are you all right? Like, you just did this. And I mean, cool. But also, like, it is not road running. It doesn't have to be scary, but it's a different animal. You should talk to a friend. Please talk to a friend about it.
I always, working with clients that are going out for the first 100, and you tell them, like, hey, at mile 90, it might take you 6 or 7 hours to do the last 10 miles. And they're like, no way. Like, okay. Like,
Yeah.
it could just happen, mile an hour. But they don't think about that, right? It's like, it could take you 10 hours if you're really going mile an hour. And my first 50K.
Like, I could walk it. Like, right? Like, I'll be fine.
My first 50K, it took me 6 hours to walk 6 miles. So I know that mile an hour thing. I'd walk 100 yards and sit on a rock, then find the next rock to sit on to walk on, because I completely blew up and didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, I have a question. So, and in the African American culture, like, you were talking about sprinters, like all that, NFL, NBA, like, those people are moving, they're athletes. Why isn't, then it gets weird though, because, like, I remember when I was growing up and, I would hear the Boston, I would think of the Kenyans running fast, or the Olympics. It was always, the African Americans running fast, or the Kenyans or whatever. Why do you think there's this weird boundary of endurance sports in that community, or culture, I guess is a better word for that?
I forget where I saw this recently, but it was a conversation around, and I mean, that's a conversation I've had with, like, family and friends over the years, but, like, unfortunately, I don't think many of us have participated in sports just for the joy of sports. Like, there has to be an end game. Like, this has to be to provide support for my family. Like, what has the best return on investment?
Yeah.
And basketball has a great return on investment. Football has a pretty decent return on investment just based on the size of rosters and stuff like that. Baseball takes a little bit longer, it's decent, but, like, that is, I would speculate that that's why not as many, kids in the Black community play baseball, because, like, all right, so I'm going to hang out in the minors making $2,000 a month forever. Like, it just doesn't make financial sense. And unfortunately, whether or not it's still the case, many of us are raised like, well, what's the end game here?
Yeah.
And not just doing it for fun, and then you get into, unless I am a top class sprinter, like, what am I doing this for? And I'm hoping that things continue to shift. And, like, do things because they bring you joy, do things because you're good at it, like you have an aptitude for it. But I think historically it was like, all right, like we need to put food on the table, pay bills. What is the easiest way to do that? Like, what is going to put us in the best position to do that? Not the easiest way to do it. What is going to put us in the best position to do that? And long distance running is not it. You know,
Do you think that's just the case throughout history where, you know, young black men are like, I want to be the provider, the protector, and I can go out there and do this with my body and I can provide this for my family? Or is it they can go out there and make a name for themselves and that becomes their identity?
I mean, let me throw out the disclaimer is that like I can only speak to my experience and what I know,
Yeah.
but I don't even know how much thought I would put into it myself as far as like my parents being very clear. And again, this is all generational.
Mhm.
But my parents being very clear, like you're gonna do this because it's a means to an end, like not because you just enjoy it, not just because like we want to get you involved, but like our hope is that this will evolve into something that you be able to take care of you and us at some point. Yeah. And I imagine there are some of us who like, you know, I mean, you hear the story at draft night for the, you know, the NFL draft and stuff like that. Like, I want to be able to take care of my family. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've never played football. I heard stories from my dad. Doesn't sound like practice is a whole lot of fun, you know,
Yeah.
at all. Like these
No.
people just beating the hell out of you up there. But it was like, I'm big, keep eating, keep doing this, and I might be able to be in a position to take care of myself long term and take care of my family, who obviously like, you know, took care of me from infancy. So yeah. And that's what I mean, you know, again, probably generational. I know that even now, thinking about like how we orient towards sports in my house, like my son loves soccer and he has told us before, like, I want to play in the World Cup. And it's like, well, that's probably not going to happen, dude. Like, but keep doing what you do, but like, do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And that is the only, and again, this comes from a place of privilege, but that is the only thing he has to worry about doing it right now. Do it because it's fun,
Yeah.
not because I need you to get a scholarship. You know, not because I need you to be able to help pay off our mortgage at some point with a big, you know, massive paycheck. Like, do it because it's fun. You know, we don't even talk to our kids about, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because I'm like, you shouldn't be worrying about that. I still don't know. I'm 44 years old. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Like,
Me either.
so why am I asking you about this? So I think hopefully as generations continue to evolve, the approach towards sports and how you choose sports will also evolve. I imagine it already is, but I would speculate that for, you know, the past couple generations, it was like, why would I do that? Like, what money is? I mean, you think about like even world-class track and field athletes today. Like, that's why the whole Grand Slam track started, because they weren't making enough money in the Olympics. So if you don't have all these sponsorships, like, you're still not living as large as you would hope as the fastest human on the planet. So,
Yeah, I mean, out of the what, hundreds of Olympic athletes, you might know the name of 4. And so, you know, those, yeah, everybody may have a minor sponsorships, and there's 4 or 5, a handful that everybody knows who they are. You know, like Simone Biles, we mentioned,
Yeah.
we know that name. Like, we know exactly what she does. She's a household name when it comes to Olympics in the United States. But outside of that, like, how many other gymnasts do you know?
exactly.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So even though you were making it to that elite level, you still probably have to have a side job just to support your your habits. But
And like, can you imagine? I mean, what did I say? Like, the tipping point or something, Malcolm Gladwell thing, like the 10,000 hours you have to put into something. Like, all right, so these are the best athletes in the world. Like, the amount of time you put into this, and it's like, also you have to go work in Excel at some point because you're not going to make enough money doing this thing. You also have to deal with Microsoft Teams. Like, that sucks. It sucks.
I was listening to Joe Rogan, Cam Haynes' new book today when I was on my run, and they were talking about the 10,000 hours. And I just kind of got to thinking, like, as I was slogging along on a road at like a 10:30, 11 pace. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how close to that 10,000 hours am I? And here I am still running at 11-minute pace. Like, have I mastered running at,
Right.
you know, it's like, that's funny to me thinking about it. I'm nowhere near 10,000 hours. I'd be interested to see where I'm at, but it's funny that, you know, I could be potentially closer over 10,000 hours, and yet I still have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to running. And like, I don't know. It's funny to me.
It is wild.
It's just a thought that, you know, made me laugh when I was out there running, but
That makes me think of what's her name? Megan Eckert. And she said she ran her first race in 2016. So it's not like she was a runner her entire life. And now she is just like the premier ultra runner
yeah.
on the planet. Like, how? What do you mean? Like, how did you not know that you had this skill? Like, and how did it just like, are you an like, how? Like, it's amazing. Obviously, she works really hard now, but like,
Yeah.
you just decided at some point, let me try out that race. And I was like, pretty good about this. Good at this. Like, I don't think I need 10,000 hours. Like, I think I'm good with 7. Like, let's
Yeah.
go.
Well, you know, Courtney DeWalter, she didn't start running until later in life as well. I mean, she ran in high school and track and stuff like that, but she didn't run like distance running until later in life, and then picked it up and just was, you know, DNF'd her first 100-miler because it hurt too much.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I guess that's what happens at a 100-miler. But, you know, now she's, you know, done something that no one's ever done before by winning all the three biggest 100-milers out there. And so, yeah, incredible what, you know, what people are able to figure out about themselves. I'm not that person. I know what I'm capable of.
And I think, I mean, again, going back to our earlier conversation, like what they have been able to accomplish is absolutely amazing. And we should celebrate that. Everyone who puts on a pair of sneakers and gets out there and does any of this,
Yeah.
proud of you. Like, keep it up. All right. All this movement matters. Like, and I think, you know, this is a challenge within Blackman Run. It's definitely a challenge within Turf. Like, I think about, you know, we're trying to grow our membership locally in Phoenix. And one, it's called Blackman Run. So if you have not done that in a while or since high school or ever, you're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, I can't get out there with y'all. So it's like, how do we help people know? And, you know, we got people running 100-milers. We got people qualifying for Boston. Like, how do I let the general public know that, hey, man, like, if you run a mile and a half, like, that's a great thing. Come on out with us. Like, somebody will run with you. Like, the first step is getting out here.
Yeah.
And any movement you do is good.
Yeah.
And I think we are still struggling with that. I'm always trying to think of new ways to get people out, get them comfortable, because no one wants to be, you know, dragging everyone back and like, oh, well, I don't need a party pace. So no, I'm good. I'll find them. No, it's like, no, we got you.
Yeah.
This is a space I can get my long run in anytime. All right. When I schedule a group run, this is for all of y'all. Okay. If I want extra miles, I'll get here at, you know, 5 or 4. Like, I'll do what I got or stay later. Like, but this group run is for all of us. So you can only do 3 miles? I got you. All right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure you get to where you need to be and that you feel safe and secure. And you also get to experience probably the most important part of, I think, definitely Blackman Run, definitely Turf, but I think running in general is the fellowship.
Yeah.
We do a lot of long, lonely miles. So when we get to do them with people, it just like lights up your life, you know? So when new people come around, it's like, hey, that's what will help you stay. Like, running, honestly, sucks. Like, when you're out, after you do it, you're like, this was great, man. I loved it, man. I never regret a run. This is awesome. But like starting, you're just like, well, it's cold or it's too hot and my knees hurt and this is miserable and now I stink. And yada, like, it is the fellowship that it's like, hey, you know what? Like, these are some nice people. Like, this was kind of cool. That was a pretty girl over there. Like, whatever gets you out in that group, you know, that's what I think gets people to come out continuously. And then the running part becomes less miserable. And you realize, like, hey, Like, this is kind of a good thing. This is helping me in so many different ways.
Yeah, that's interesting that you brought that up. I was just listening to another podcast the other day called The Art of Manliness, and they were talking about how men don't have a place that they can go and talk to other men, and they have to find that community, but they're scared to find that community. They're scared to go to it. Like, what do they use? Church is a big one that they
Yeah.
find, like-minded men, and it's not something that's talked about a lot. Men are just inherently secret, lonely creatures, but we need that fellowship with other men to help encourage us through life and find ways that I'm struggling here. Oh, I've been there before. Let me help you out, and so I appreciate your organization and the things that you're saying, because it seems like you're inviting men out, and you guys are going on runs, you're fellowshipping, you're teaching each other how to be trail runners, and I really appreciate that, and I think that's a great community that you guys are representing out there.
I'm really fortunate in that, I mean, the fellowship is obviously a very big thing within Black and Run, and I'm starting to think about how I can use that in like raising my kids. So, like, at some point they're going to be, one's turning 10 in a couple weeks, the other one's turning 7 in a couple weeks. I got a couple years before I got some brooding teens. I mean, already like things are happening, but like it's going to get ugly. And I'm like, all right, well, running, like when the guys run with each other, like, again, no one is pouring their heart out necessarily, but it's the act of running is cathartic. And it's almost easier if you can actually breathe and talk at the same time to have deep conversations then, because you don't have to look somebody in the eye. Like, it almost takes away some of the awkwardness.
Yeah.
And because, like, again, you can't breathe, you might just be able to sit in silence for a little bit. Like, I got that thought out. Let's just, quiet for a little bit, quiet a little bit, stop. All right. I think that makes it easier. So I've been thinking about it, talked to my wife about it. I'm like, all right, like, my son, he'll run and we can talk. That's where we get a lot of our good conversations out. I'm like, my daughter's kind of getting into it. There's going to be at some point where she wants nothing to do with her. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do a run. And again, even if we don't talk, the simple act of us being out there together, that's good. Running is cathartic. You burn off whatever aggression you might have had, so I'm like been thinking about how I can take that lesson of fellowship from Blackman Run, from turf, and apply it to raising my kids, to make sure that, one, I always have this connection with them, but also have this medium through which we can discuss the things that are on our mind. And again, not just for them, like, hey, I got something heavy on my shoulders too. You're one of my most important people. Can I share it with you? Let's do this while we run.
I also think, just as people in general, being vulnerable through suffer. When more than one person is suffering, the vulnerability comes out, right? Because we're already suffering with whatever we're doing, but that movement, seeing another person suffer, another man suffer, especially, opens up the gate to say, hey, dude, I see you're hurting. Is everything good? Are you okay? I got some space for you. Do you need to talk? Vice versa, right? It can be weird in the beginning, but you were talking about getting that aggression out. I used to tell a lot of people when I used to train police academy, and I would use this analogy. I'm like that caged dog. If you don't let me out, I'm going to go crazy. And their eyes would just light up and go, what the hell's wrong with this guy? That's me. That's me, right? I've learned how to get my anger, my frustrations out on the trail. Is it always healthy? No, I'll admit that. But when I'm sharing it with another person, another man, it's like that can become healthy. And leaning on each other and just giving each other space, whatever community it is huge, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I always tend to feel a little bit better. Just like, I use this example. We, unfortunately, the Black Men Run community is huge. And there have been several instances over the past couple of years where someone has suffered a major loss. And the timing of it has worked out on multiple occasions where we were having a captain's call shortly afterwards, and they would let us know what's going on. And you just have all these Black men on a Microsoft Teams call, like being vulnerable. Some of us are crying, not enough, ugly crying, like feeling the pain, sharing the pain with one of our brothers who was going through the absolute worst thing that someone could be going through at that time, you know? And I always think about, and like, while it sucks because like as your community grows, you build these connections and like you're feeling things all the time now. But I'm so happy that that community exists, because oftentimes when something like that is going down, people are alone,
Mhm.
you know, or you may be surrounded by family, but they're also dealing with the loss as well. So how can they support you in the way you need to be supported when they're like dying on the inside as well? So to have this like extended community of brothers or whoever it might be, but specific in, as it relates to Black Men Run, this extended community of brothers who, okay, like it's not necessarily going to impact their daily lives, but you're their brother, so they feel it. They're identifying with like, oh damn, what if that happened to me? I can't even imagine right now. And we can just be sad together. Like, I mean, that is beyond the health benefits I have received from this organization. That is the most important thing I've taken from it. And it's unfortunate that it happens in the most tragic of circumstances, but it's like, I'm so happy that that exists.
And the cool part is the connection is from running. Your main single connection point is through running.
Yeah, that's how we know each other.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Jay, let's figure out a little bit more about you, and we'll do that through some quick fire questions.
Okay.
You should know the answer to all of these. What are your favorite shoes?
Ooh, well, this is sad because I think my favorite shoes are the Saucony Endorphin Rift, which I'm pretty sure they discontinued. They were really bouncy. I don't remember whether or not they had a carbon plate on them, but either way, if they did, I didn't feel it, but there was a lot of cushion in there. They felt very snug, like in the terrain that I'm often running in and the gradient, like having a sneaker that fits securely.
Uh-huh.
But also can withstand all the jagged rocks that I have to run on is so clutch. And that sneaker
Phoenix
was
rocks, man. Those are just brutal.
God. You get all these new sneakers that are coming up. They're like, oh, it's all foam on the bottom. I was like, no. The rocks go right in the foam and split it immediately. No.
Oh, I love that. What's your go-to like brand of clothing that you wear? Are you a thrift store kind of guy, whatever you can find, or do you have a specific?
Ooh, I am very partial to Lululemon. Can't tell you the type of shorts, but they are pretty much all I wear. I just love how light and loose they are and comfortable. And then most of my gear, I wear Black Men Run shirts almost every time, Black Men Run or turf shirts almost every time I'm running. The manufacturer we've long used for the Black Men Run shirts are like heavier. So like for ultra runners, they're like, nah, I can't do this. I'm chafing. It's miserable. We have finally partnered with a new manufacturer out of, I think it's El Salvador. And I just got the new shirts recently, and it's light and breathable. Oh, I can't wait to run this summer in that. It is so nice. It's so nice.
I love it. What's your favorite hydration pack?
I've been running with it's funny, I crapped out this morning. I've been running with an Orange Mud hydration pack, and I think I broke it, so that's on me. The biggest thing, like I don't do super long runs. I mostly carry water with me because I don't want to be the idiot that gets airlifted because I did not have water.
Uh-huh.
I rarely drink any of it, but I'm like, don't be that guy. The biggest reason I have it is like I can put my phone in my compression shorts, but then eventually I sweat enough that I'm thigh dialing everybody, and that's miserable. So I need a place to put my pocket.
Thigh
Like,
dialing. That's
in
like
sweet.
reality,
that.
I
That's
need
funny.
I need a pocket to put my phone.
Yeah.
Because I have freaked my wife out on way too many occasions. Like, let's not do that anymore.
That's
No, so I like
funny.
to take pictures, and it's all sweaty now, and it's
Yeah.
disgusting. Like, no.
I like it. All right. Last one is go-to nutrition.
Oof.
Gel
Yeah.
or water mixture, whatever you're using.
I do enjoy a good tailwind mix.
Okay.
For I'll say my 50K that I've done once. So that's my longest run. It's like, all right, I know I got to fuel. Like, I don't like to have a whole lot of things in my belly. Like, I don't really eat before races. Even like a marathon, I'm like, I might have a protein shake, but I want to be an empty vessel, which is not something you should do for longer races. But I'm an energy gummy, like the Jelly Belly. As a Jelly Belly, the energy gummies, like, I just want something sweet in my mouth. Because my biggest fear is that I'll start burping something, and the
Mhm.
last thing I want to do is like stop at an aid station. It's like, oh, let me have some of that ramen, or have like, oh, I'll take a burrito, and then the next 5 miles I'm just like burping up that. Like, I'd rather die.
Do not have a peanut butter and jelly
I was gonna
sandwich.
say peanut butter and jelly
cannot,
sandwich.
I cannot.
Oh, the peanut butter.
Cannot.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
yeah. So I am like the Jelly Bellies. I like.
Okay.
I forget what they were.
Have you tried nerd clusters yet?
Ooh, not during a run,
Yeah.
but I do like them.
So now try them on a run.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're about to change the game here.
I did this thing today. Walmart went after Easter. Their Peeps were like 50 cents, right? I like Peeps, so I bought a bunch of them, and I was on my run, and I just ripped. You know how they're like in a rail, you can pull them apart, and so I just ripped that rail off and threw the whole thing in my mouth, and I'm running down this hill, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting. So I took a little sip of my water, and it just melted. And then I swallowed.
Really?
So there was quite a bit of carbohydrates in that little rail of
Okay.
Peeps I took. So I think
didn't know
Peeps are
they'd
going to be my
melt.
new. Yeah, like
I mean, I
You know
guess
that
it's not, I mean, it's a little bit harder consistency. I mean, it's much harder consistency than like cotton candy, but like ultimately it's probably made of the same stuff, right?
kind of same thing. Yep.
You got me thinking, because I like, I'm like, oh, there's got to be manufacturers out there who make stuff specifically for this, but like there are plenty of treats in my normal life that I really, really like. Why wouldn't I bring those? Like our local grocery store, Sprouts, makes gourmet gummy bears and gummy worms,
Oh,
and
those
it's
are
like
so
my
good.
vice. Like I'm trying to keep them out of my house because I will eat a pound and a half of them
Oh,
over
those
the
are
course
so
of 2
good.
days. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and I like them out of the freezer, so I don't know
Oh.
how that'll work on a race. But I'm like, I'll eat those all day long. Like, bring those on a race. Like,
Yeah.
you got me
And
thinking
you got to
now.
think about how much cheaper they are than going out and buying, like, if you buy one gel, a gel's $4.
Yeah,
You can almost get an entire one of those big bags of nerd clusters for $4. And I think 15 nerd clusters is a serving, and it's almost 30 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
And so
this is my favorite thing. One of my favorite things about trail runners is how industrious and resourceful we are. I don't know, like, so I mean, you got a young kid, like the little fruit packs that they have. You twist off the top and they squeeze or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
We call them bops in our house. And I remember one of the guys I run with pretty frequently out here, he had a bunch of like, yeah, these kids things are full of carbohydrates and sugars and stuff like that. They're going out because kids won't eat anything. Like, you got to make sure it tastes good for a kid.
Yeah.
And it tastes good enough. I mean, I'm not going to have one with peas in it or anything like that. I'd rather die. But, give me a nice little like applesauce one. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, bring a whole bunch of those.
yeah.
I've ran with people that have eaten baby food, so
I've carried baby food on mine.
Yeah.
Just like the little packs. Of
the little
baby
packs.
food.
But this one person would actually, it was a timed event, and they had jars,
Oh,
Oh,
and they just
wow.
spoon it
can't
out
say
real
I've
quick.
never done the jars, but
But,
I've done the packs.
Yeah, the packs are the new thing, but they're much easier. But I was like, baby food, interesting.
Interesting. But I guess, because you are trying to, you got an infant or a baby or a toddler or whatever, like you're trying to get them as many calories as humanly possible. So it makes sense. Like, All right.
I need
I got
to.
some new ideas now. Yeah,
I
right.
need to hear, in a month or two, I need to hear now what your favorite nutrition is. You're gonna have the Sprouts gourmet gummies,
Yes,
the Nerd
yeah.
clusters.
They're just so heavy though. That's what I'm thinking. I was like,
They
all
are
right,
pretty heavy.
the bag I
Yeah.
get now, and I'm like, I just imagine that in my pack and it bouncing back and forth. Like, yeah.
What I do is just get those small Ziploc bags, then like parse them out.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll like even
Okay.
go to like servings if during a race. That way, I know there's like whatever 15 gummy bears or Nerd clusters in the thing, so I know I'm getting maybe. That goes
It
out of the
sounds
window
like you have a lot
later.
of self-control. Like I just go in there with a fistful. So, all right.
That works too.
Death March gives
Ooh.
out these reusable bags,
Oh,
and these they'll fold up real easily and just throw in your pack, and they're reusable. So I've been using
Oh.
these a lot.
I need to get some of those.
I throw a bunch of Nerd clusters in there, just tons of Nerd clusters in there. I roll them up, throw them in my pack,
Oh, man.
and there you go. I've been known to go to the gas station and get just candy off the shelf and throw the whole candy in my pack.
that's smart. Yeah, yeah.
Robbie came up with the great idea of using sweet tea in his flask instead of like water or so you go get a Milo's at the gas station for $1 and it's got like 60 or 70 grams of carbs and it fits in your flask.
Yeah.
And so you just use that. So
And we are so resourceful.
the gas station has all kinds of carbs. You just got
The gas station's like the perfect spot for runners.
Oh, after a major candy holiday, just go to Walmart and just
Yeah.
stack up.
My daughter thinks I'm crazy. I'm like,
Yeah.
we got to go hit Walmart after Easter.
So Reese's, Reese's peanut butter cups, they don't freeze. And so, I run outside in the extreme colds, and so they don't freeze. And so I can eat a Reese's peanut butter cup. And so I stock up on Reese's throughout the year. And then, I eat them like crazy in the summertime.
yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean,
It's like
absolutely.
they're in my house, they're getting eaten, but like, they make it through the winter just fine. So that's a lot of
That's
what
awesome.
I eat. But all right, last question for you. You can be any dinosaur out there. What kind of dinosaur are you going to be?
Man, I am the original Jurassic Park generation.
Yeah.
I was just watching, there's a author named Shay Sharano he's hilarious, and he just wrote a breakdown. He's doing breakdowns of all these movies and whatnot. And I just read his breakdown of Jurassic Park, and he was highlighting the scene where they get to see their first dinosaur when they pull up and they see the brontosauruses and like how majestic they are. And I don't know if you remember like the moment, like we believe that was real. Like it was the coolest thing we ever saw. So like if I had to pick one, it would be the Brontosaurus from that scene in Jurassic Park.
All right. I like it.
The second person for Brontosaurus.
It is. Yeah. You are
Really?
the second. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Lot of pterodactyls out there. Everybody just wants to fly.
Okay.
Well, Jay, if somebody wants to join Black Men Runs or Turf, where can they find you guys? Where can we find you on social media if somebody wants to follow you?
If
Give
you
us
like
the
to follow me, I am at meted99. Too embarrassed to explain where that handle comes from, but I've had it since my sophomore year of college. So at meted99, METED99. If you'd like to know more about Black Men Run, we do have a website, blackmenrun.com. And there are Instagram pages for all of the chapters, but my chapter in particular is at Black Men Run Phoenix, and Turf is at Black Men Run Turf. And we post all of our activity there. I mean, it's my favorite thing to like, one, highlight what the people I know are doing. Big and small, whatever the group runs, the volunteering at aid stations. There's just a lot of cool stuff going on. But I almost primarily use those pages to amplify what other groups are doing in the community. Because there's just a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff. The one that pops out in my head the quickest, I'm sorry I'm being so loquacious, I can talk forever, but it was after one of the hurricanes that rolled through the Southeast a year ago, whatever, they had all these camps and they opened them up to people who were displaced, like their homes had been destroyed. And normally they host like mountain bike races and trail races and stuff like that. But they're like, we have lodging. If your house is displaced, like, come on out here. Like, and I was like, that's what this community is all about. That is awesome. I want to amplify stories like that. We are doing some really cool things, not just running. This is a great community.
Awesome. Well, if you're in the Phoenix area, look up the organizations and go out and get a run in. And if you like this podcast, please leave us a review on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple, or wherever you find your podcast. This will help us get more podcasts into more people's playlist. And so give Jay a follow, hit up his organizations, and we'll see you on the trails.